Welcome to a beautiful circuit on a stunning day, the Okayama International Circuit in southwestern Japan. It's the fifth round of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS. And for the first time, there is a solo race for GT4. 77 cars coming out to play. This is a step in the right direction for next year. Nearly 32 degrees air temperature, exactly matching the track temperature. It's been there like that all day. So 64% humidity. It's going to be hard work for the drivers, but let's go down to the grid because Benjamin Franasovici, who makes this all happen, is going to share his thoughts looking ahead with Amy Izawa.
Benjamin, the very first GT4 standalone race is about to start. We already had a few drivers thanking SRO for this opportunity, which I think is a great one. Can you share us about your thoughts? How happy are you?
Well, we're very excited and happy that the interest is so strong. GT World Challenge Asia is growing and growing, and we decided for Okayama for the first time to split our grids. And we can show here, we just promoted that race 2 months ago, and we already have 7 cars, which means for us we will have double that next year. So it's the beginning, but it's going to show everyone that it's going to explode next year, and GT4 in Japan is finally going to take off. So we're very optimistic.
I also love the amount of different manufacturers in it.
Yeah, interest from in Europe we have a lot of manufacturers, and here it's coming as well. So it's exciting. You have diversity and a lot of manufacturers. So it's all looking very good.
Let's look forward for a great race then.
Thank you. Yes, looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Always good to hear from Benjamin Franasovici. He spent the 2 years during the COVID pandemic plotting to get us back on track. We hit the track again last year. It's just grown like topsy this year, and GT4 getting its own race, very much the way to go. And certainly a lot of the GT3 teams are going, hey, if they've got a separate race, we can concentrate on that alongside the GT3. So Benjamin talked about the field doubling next year. I think we could see it heading towards 20 cars. Then it really would be quite something. But a toe in the water here, and a very good race lined up ahead of us. Certainly qualifying, the 2 qualifying sessions this morning were fantastic. The one for this race was the less competitive of the 2, but certainly you needed to deal in fractions of a second when we look at the grid that's put together for tomorrow's GT4 race, which will bring this meeting to a conclusion. But for the first time in Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, we will have a separate race, and it's I think it's good. It gives us more chance to throw the spotlight on all the performers here. And as Amy said, 7 cars down there, but 6 different manufacturers. And Amy is very busy indeed. She's gone up to speak to Yuko Suzuki, who'll be driving the SRO Motorsports McLaren.
優子選手、このマクラーレンアルトラで、もうデビューのレースとなります。そのスタートドライバー担当ということで、今のお気持ちを率直に教えてください。
そうね、I love マクラーレン。I love マクラーレン。かっこいいでしょ、この車。本当は初戦の富士でデビューさせたかったんですけれども間に合わなくって、でもラストレースに間に合ってよかったなと思ったんですけれども、練習の時にパーツがいきなり壊れちゃって全然練習できなくって、まあ私の中ではまだ馴染まないまま走ることになったんですけれども、今回このロングランが初めてですから、とりあえず何事もなく完走できたらっていう思いが今はもういっぱいですね。
はい、レース期待してますんで頑張ってください。So yes, it was planned to bring this McLaren to Fuji actually, but they couldn't make it in time. It didn't arrive in time, and they also had troubles coming into this week with some parts issues and stuff. So she's really happy being able to do the long run. And also she mentioned that look at this car, how cool is it? That's what she said at the first thing she said. And yeah, she's going to enjoy it and very happy to be the first driver doing this very first race in this GT4 standalone race. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Amy. So yes, the first race, and Masataka Inoue and Yuko Suzuki, we heard from her down there. They started the year, they wanted the Artura, but it couldn't come out yet. This is the first one racing in Asia. So they started in GT3, also run by SRO Motorsport, running a 720S McLaren. That's been out for a couple of years. Now they're trying the GT4, and just hearing Yuko going, I love McLaren. I mean, clearly, this car looked fantastic in qualifying this morning, particularly when Masataka Inoue was driving it. It really looked so well balanced, and that's the reports from all around the world where the Artura has been making its debut this year. So good to have one of those here. Other teams will be looking on, and certainly all the major manufacturers competing in GT3 are bringing out GT4 models of their own, so it's going to be a big pot to choose from. But at the moment, 6 of the 7 cars are from different manufacturers. The only manufacturer doubling up is a manufacturer on the second row. That's Toyota. 2 Toyota Supra GT4s. The better placed of those is the one that we saw at the opening round at Buriram, the Chang International Circuit in Thailand at the start of the year. That's car 39, entered by Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia, with Haridharma Manopo, who'll be starting. He's the Indonesian driver, before handing over to Seita Nonaka, alongside Akiland Racing. That's the number 71 Supra. Masayoshi Oyama will start and then hand over to Ryohei Sakaguchi, who was really, really positive about the way the car was handling. So it looked good. But on the front row, it's BMW and Aston Martin. Look, a mini GT3 car in the same livery as D-Station Racing Aston Martin, but from YZ Racing with BMW M Team Studi. The M4 GT4 has been such a successful car since it sort of broke cover a couple of years ago. And the grid is clear. We'll get to see the cars. The last car on the grid is that pink metallic Comet Racing Mercedes. Of course, Comet Racing, we just saw them win the GT3 AM section of the Japan Cup in the first race of the day for the 31 GT3 cars. But here, for the first time, a standalone race for the GT4 runners. And this grid will most definitely grow. But in terms of standing out from the crowd, the Comet Racing Mercedes absolutely does that. And the second female racer in this event, Miss Risa Oguchi, is driving that. She was some way off the pace, but you know what? With every lap in qualifying, she was finding half a second or a second. She's about 8 seconds off the ultimate pace, but it's a very, very steep learning curve, and it's fantastic to have her. Because if you can take on the pace of that number 50 BMW from M Team Studi, you know, you're really right on it. But for Aston Martin lovers, D-Station Racing, they're running a car with an identical livery. That's with the senior Hoshino. This is Tatsuya Hoshino driving with Kenji Hama. And they're down on the outside of the front row. But the BMW is on the front row of the grid. Now I can tell you we've got a camera pointing forward from the Comet Racing Mercedes. There it is. And Risa Oguchi will start and then hand over to Kazuki Oki. So it's a good view down to the first corner. I never complain when you have an on-board lap around Okayama. So much to see. On board, drivers have to work very, very little in the way of straights. There's the main straight and there's the back straight, but in between, the drivers are working the whole time around the 13 twists and turns of this circuit. So waiting, we're about 25 minutes behind schedule due to a red flag in an earlier race, but this one, just like the GT3 race in Fanatec GT, will run for an hour with the driver change anywhere between 25 minutes into the race and 35 minutes. That's when the pit window will be open. Another onboard camera in the number 39 Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia Supra. That will be starting third on the grid. So looking forward, the eye view of Haridharma Manopo is the BMW on pole position. That's car number 50, and alongside 48, and that is the D-Station Racing Aston Martin GT4. 1 minute board has been shown. It's such a different feeling for these drivers, rather than starting at the back of the GT3 grid and seeing the GT3 field of 30 plus cars pour away and eventually come round to lap them. Now they can concentrate on their own race. It's always difficult in the junior class of race if you have to pull aside to let the quicker cars come through. You can end up on the dirt, you can end up sliding off, they can clatter into you. Here, they're not going to have any compromises. This is a pure race for GT4. It's a toe in the water, but the response, as we heard from Benjamin Franasovici, has been intense. A lot of the GT3 teams will be looking on from their pit garages and looking on their monitors to check progress and see where they think they could slot in 2024. So off we go. The safety car, the Lexus safety car, or the pace car at this point, I suppose, if it's leading the round on the formation lap. Do just that. And just waiting for those to get going. And Masaki Kano will lead off the M Team Studi BMW M4. Aston Martin Vantage from second, then the 2 Toyota Supras, one from Indonesia and the one from Akiland Racing. That's car number 71. He sets off from row number 2. Cars third and fourth on the grid. Then the brand new, and it really is, McLaren Artura will start fifth. The K-Mania Racing Porsche. That's been in the championship all year. That will start from 6th. And bringing up the rear, Comet Racing. Can't miss it. Day or night. Day glow. Bright, bright. Pink metallic. All in the mood and the mode of Barbie. But here's the grid. Masaki Kano in the number 50 BMW from YZ Racing. Then Tatsuya Hoshino, D-Station Racing. And then Haridama Manopo from Indonesia, who went well in Thailand. And Masayoshi Oyama, the second of the Toyotas. Then Yuko Suzuki, we heard from her on the grid. And Sho Kobayashi, who'll be kicking off the Kamania Racing Porsche. Look for that one coming forward. And Risa Oguchi will bring up the rear of the grid and hopefully keep on getting faster in that Comet Racing Mercedes. And there it is as the field goes between turn 6 and turn 7. They go over a rise and they drop down to the hairpin at the end of the back straight. Conditions perfect, air temperature and track temperature identical just 10 minutes ago, 31.8 degrees apiece. This is the view looking forward into turn 7. The track dips, then it's got a banked exit and it dives down behind the paddock. This is the view from the back of the field. That was coming out of turn 7, and it really does drop sharply, then runs behind the paddock, starts rising up from turn 9 to turn 10, sharply up the hill at 10. At 11, they come out, they crest the slope, and then, of course, they come down through 12 and 13 onto the start-finish straight. But right now, this is the view of the track behind the paddock between turns 9 and 10. It's rising rather more than it looks there on the camera. The camera always has a degree of flattening out what it sees. For a lot of these drivers, this is something very different. For those who've been doing most of the season, they're used to starting at the back. Here they are at the front of the field. And the back as well, of course. 7 cars, we will get more in 2024. Who's going to go well? Really look out for number 718. That sort of didn't quite get its qualifying together. But we know that car is quick. We know the team, Kamania Racing, has made great progress through the course this year, getting that Porsche Cayman 718 to work on the Pirelli rubber, and now we think they've just about got it together. But it's BMW from Aston Martin, Toyota from Toyota, then McLaren, then Porsche, and bring up the rear, Mercedes. So here we go for the first time in Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, a GT4 race on its own, and it's the very good start coming up from the BMW, slightly tardy start from Ashino on the outside of the front row, and I sense Ashino in the Aston Martin may actually be deposed. No, I thought the Indonesian Toyota may slide up the inside. It didn't. Neat and tidy and safe down through the first 2 corners. Kamania Racing, I said look out for them, and that started to try and make moves at the moment. Sho Kobayashi, did he get past the McLaren? Yes, he did. So Yuko Suzuki pushed back just a little bit through turns 3 and 4. Very fast flick. Trying to straight line turn 5 as much as they can, but you can't straight line turn 6. It's a 180-degree right-hander up a slope, definite climb from corner in to corner out. But the Aston Martin has ended up down in 3rd position because Haridama Manopo did get past early in the first lap. Didn't manage it into the first corner, but has certainly got the job done. Into turn 7 they go. It's a narrow bit of track, and even though there was an advantage for Masaki Kano, he still took the tight inside line to repel any possible charges. Haridama Manopo, he was very, very good in qualifying on cold tyres, and again he's showing when there's not much heat yet in that Pirelli rubber, he's able to push on up into 2nd place from 3rd. D-Station Racing Aston Martin hanging on, and also I sense that Sho Kobayashi will be making up places, and in the Kamania, or the Czech shop Kamania Racing Porsche, to give it its full title, he's pushing hard. And Akiland Racing, number 71, having to resist very hard indeed, be robust there. And that's been started by Masayoshi Oyama. I honestly think in terms of natural pace, we would expect Sho Kobayashi to move past him. He's got to plot his move down into turn 1 for the first time at full racing speed. Goes our race leader up the inside. Oh, certainly having a look, and certainly had the Akiland Racing Toyota with Oyama at the wheel just cut off his nose. Oh, Oyama's run a very deep line into turn 2. Manages it to get together, but Kamania Racing, Sho Kobayashi, right on his tail, looking to pick up the pieces, and there nearly were some pieces to pick up, it must be said. No point asking twice. Dive down the inside as soon as you can. Neat, tidy, the job done. So Czech shop Kamania Racing, car 718, Sho Kobayashi at the wheel, should head off after the first 3. In fact, the battle for 2nd place is the intense one. There's a gap of 1.5 seconds between first. We'll just see the car in first going out of the corner. It's pulled much further clear now. That's the BMW of Masaki Kano, but second place, Haridamo Manopo at the moment, hanging on to that second. The Aston Martin was marginally faster on pace in qualifying and wants to get back ahead, because the last thing you want is to be running just below your optimum pace, because then, of course, the car in the lead will pull clear. And in the background of the shot, in fourth place, it's now Okayama being challenged very, very hard by Kobayashi, and I sense Kobayashi may have just moved past that second and third. Looking for the flash in the background. I think the K-Mania Porsche has got up to fourth position for Sho Kobayashi. 1-2, wait for it, here they come. Yes, it has. The Akalan Racing Toyota has gone back to fifth place, and the McLaren's hanging on very well indeed. So Yuko Suzuki said she loves this car, and she's really making a very good fist of it at the moment. Akalan Racing here with us at the start of the season. Not here, but I mean the championship. They dropped away again after we left Fuji, but good to have them back. And certainly a couple of other teams, including Craft Bamboo Racing, were looking to get cars here, but logistical problems getting the right car onto the right continent can actually cost you your ambition. So for 2024 they'll be here. Now the championship is split into silver RAM pairing, so a silver rank driver and a bronze, and they're filling the top two positions. Masaki Kano and Haridamo Manopo, they're in silver RAM, but Hoshino for D-Station Racing running third. He's leading the GT4 AM class. The next car in line is this one, the 718 Czech Shot K-Mania Racing Porsche Cayman. I sense that's going to start picking up the pace. It lost a little bit of time for the previous 2 laps, gaining track position, but now I expect Sho Kobayashi will stretch his legs in that one. Second and third remain very, very close indeed. For D-Station Racing Aston Martin, I sense they've got a little bit more speed in their car, but being bottled up behind the Toyota isn't what they were looking for. And all along as that happens, Masaki Kano was 3.6 seconds clear at the last timing split. The next one's coming up when these two cross the finish line to put 3 laps on the board. One feels it will have increased. Let's take a look at the timing split. 4.8 seconds. Now it's 5.4 seconds. It's moving very, very quickly. How fast the race-leading BMW is pulling it clear. Again, if you saw a Toyota Supra in the street, you wouldn't think it'd be able to race with something like an Aston Martin Vantage, but the performance is tweaked and balanced and made to be as equal as it possibly could. D-Station Racing, they're watching on with interest, but obviously they wanted their car to be a bit close to the front. Kenji Hama will be taking that over in the second half of the race, but for now it's having to make do where it is in third position overall. Very close to number 39 Toyota. The Indonesian entered one with Haridamo Manopo at the wheel, but all along, as they sit there, all along, the car in the lead is increasing its margin. Last time around, Masaki Kano set the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 38.68 seconds. Nobody else has gone under 1 minute 40. He's nearly getting on for 2 seconds a lap quicker than the best lap of any of the other challengers in this race. Just looking at lap pace, the car at the tail of the field with Risa Oguchi is dropping ever further back, and at the moment lapping, well, last time around was just over 10 seconds slower than all of those up front. So that'll be the first car that comes up to lapping, or to be lapped, but I think it's a fair way off yet, but actually losing 10 seconds a lap. Yeah, will she get to the pit stop window opening before she gets lapped? But she'll be all on her own, so she should be easy to pass. The one that isn't easy to pass is Haridamo Manopo, car number 39, Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia. And he's just holding on to that second place and staying there. And Sho Kobayashi pressing on the K-Mania Racing Porsche, getting closer and closer. In fact, slightly pulling away, I beg your pardon. The last lap, a slight gain for Okayama in the number 71 Akalan Racing Toyota, but the gap between them, just about a second. The lap pace starting to pick up, and Haridamo Manopo in second place, who's done his best lap of the race, and 3/10 of a second quicker than the chasing D-Station Aston Martin. That's why he's in front of it. Wow, just the way the light, the sunlight, great to have it, was catching the front right corner of the Cayman. I thought the bodywork was damaged. It's just the sun is so strong, it really illuminated the green flashes on the black nose. But for Masaki Kano, definitely back on form. Motegi was a bit of a blip for them, but let's talk about Motegi, because they took second place in the race. That means that they took victory in the race. That is why they'll have to serve extra time at their pit stop. It'll be an extra 15 seconds. Car in second place will also have to serve 15 seconds, and that's because they won the class at Buriram at the start of the season. So if you finish first, you have to do an extra 15 seconds at your pit stop. If you finish second in the next race, you have an extra 10 seconds. If you finish third, 5 seconds, and it really can shape a race. So the Caymania Racing Porsche, that will stop for an extra 10 seconds. The car we're looking at now will stop for an extra 15. And the car running in second place on the track, by dint of still having some penalty time to serve from the opening round of the championship in Thailand, they will also have 15 seconds extra at a standstill in their pit stop. Pit stop will open the pit stop window in 16 minutes. Opens when the clock says 35 minutes left and closes when it says only 25 minutes remaining. Good battle for second place. You really do sense the D-Station Racing Aston Martin is the quicker of the pair, but it hasn't got track position. Down the drop, turn 7 drops into turn 8, 8 into 9. There's turn 9. A lot of drivers getting pinged for running over that curb in the background. And the one coming out of turn 8 down the slope, a lot of people run a little bit wide because they turn in just a touch too soon. But while this battle for second place rages, our race leader Masaki Kano 7.8 seconds clear at the last timing split. It's now out to 8.9. So it keeps on increasing. It changes, but it's only going one direction. So this is building a really nice cushion for Manabu Orido to take over for the BMW crew. At this rate, he's going to have about 12 seconds advantage, one would feel, maybe slightly more. So this is the view from second place. Aridamo Manopo. Again, you can see how much the drivers have to work. It's not just turn into turn 1, it's wait, then position the car for turn 2. Curb's quite flat here, so you could go over them, but the idea is generally not to, unless you want the shortest lap by cutting a few of the corners. Looks a bit like a test session at the moment, but it was much closer on the grid for tomorrow's race. So particularly in the silver AM pairings, the AM is the driver that set the time today. That's why there's a bigger spread of times, and the more highly ranked drivers set the grid for tomorrow, and that's why that is not only quicker but a whole lot tighter. I think we had the top 6 cars covered by a whisker over a second. That's all but one of the field getting right in the mix. But running in third place is enough at the moment for Hoshino to be leading the GT4 AM class, but he's right on his toes, but he just can't get past. That's Tatsuya Hoshino, bronze-rated driver, teammate Kenji Hama, also a bronze-rated driver. That's why they're in the AM category. Looking out, that shot foreshortens the effect that number 39 Toyota comfortably in front of the D-Station Racing Aston Martin in second place. This little battle's heating up a little bit. Not so long ago, Sho Kobayashi got the 718 Porsche Cayman from Czech Shop Caymania Racing up into 4th position, but Akiland Racing's Masayoshi Oyama not letting him get away. Very, very evenly matched in terms of pace. And the Cayman is second in the GT4 AM class. In fact, there are only the 2 runners in that class. they're running in 3rd and 4th positions. The Hoshino-driven D-Station Racing Aston Martin, 1st in class, 2nd in class, the 718 Cayman. And suddenly lap time starting to pick up. 5 of the 7 cars on the field last time around, their first sector of the lap is their best, and the race leading BMW has put in the best of all, best time of all in the 2nd sector. So Masaki Kano pulling ever further clear. And Risa Oguchi still bringing up the rear for Craft Bamboo Racing. She's 5th. She's getting on for 1.5 minutes down from the front runner. The fastest lap of the race at 1:38.2. So a little bit of overtaking could be coming up fairly soon. A bit of lapping, I should say. The Porsche Cayman and the Toyota Supra, 2 of the sort of lower profile cars in the championship. I'm talking in terms of scale. Some of the other runners just shift a little bit more air to get a little more air to shift to get through. But both these cars, small, slender, sleek, not bad things to be in terms of being a racing car. Well, at this point in the race, Masaki Kano, the number 50 BMW driver, pulling ever further clear. 13 seconds to good, his best lap, 1:38.3. The next best lap in the race, 1:39.7, and that's from Hoshino in the Aston Martin, so comfortable in the lead of the race. 10 minutes until the pit window will open. Okayama Racing, that's Ryohei Sakaguchi waiting to take over, but they're all in fairly good spirits, but they'd quite like that Porsche Cayman to get out of their way. However, you've got to make it happen. And that's precisely what we're seeing Masayoshi Oyama trying his very best to do, but at the moment it really does seem that D-Station Racing's Tatsuya Hoshino has got things covered, and very nicely too. Now, how hard do you push? Are you just going to say, well, maybe we'll get a better pit stop? But remember, the 718 Cayman has got an extra 10 seconds at its pit stop, so for Akinan Racing, who've got no success penalty, they can just simply know they'll come in and they'll get out of the pits without any hurry at all in front. Now, Kref Motorsport, they started the season, the 720S McLaren. This car, they had to wait an age. They wanted it for Fuji a couple of months ago, wasn't happening. Only one competing in Asia. There'll be more to follow, because certainly it does look very, very good indeed. I'm not just talking about the appearance, I'm looking at the way it handles. This is the brand new Artura, new for 2024. It's getting a lot of rave reviews on the European scene, and certainly Yuko Suzuki likes it very much. And in Europe, there's even a single make series. The McLaren Trophy had its debut at Paul Ricard alongside the GT World Challenge Endurance round there earlier in the year. And again, that's a series that is largely a Pro-Am series. A lot of McLaren drivers on the McLaren Works books over the years from GT3 are supporting a lot of these incoming drivers. So plenty going on for McLaren, but as far as Yuko Suzuki is concerned, this car seems to suit her very nicely, with her comments being so positive. You feel more would follow. Now, let's ride on board the Comet Racing number 83 Mercedes. Risa Oguchi has just done her best lap of the race, got below 1:50. That's good, a target time being hit and being achieved. Now she's coming through turn 13, the final corner. Slightly tentative, not using too much curb, but that's quite a good thing, because it's very easy to just use a little bit too much, and then you are the chump in the gravel trap. But Research, she's keeping it neat, tidy, and very, very pink, it must be said. GT4 cars, very, very exacting to drive. A lot of drivers over the years who've raced GT3 and GT4 say, well, GT3 is a lot easier because you've got more things helping, you've got more downforce, you've got more rubber in contact with the track. Maybe the right way to go is you do GT4 first, then you go to the more power, the more downforce. Coming the other way, I can imagine, is a little bit tricky, but some drivers do it with great success all around the world. Right, so already lapped by the race leader, that's Masaki Kano. His BMW has gone right past. Is this going to be an opportunity for Hoshino in the D-Station Racing Aston Martin to ambush the driver in second place? That's the Indonesian driver, Haridamo Manopo. Oh yeah, definitely D-Station and Hoshino are looking quite interested. Can he get up the inside? Oh, the Toyota's going to be blocked, surely. Oh, just not enough width in the track. I thought that Manopo was going to be obstructed, have to come off the power. That would be the moment that D-Station Racing had been looking for, but no. Not enough of a blockage. Not you want the blockage to be there, but it was just half a chance for D-Station Racing. Lost the position right at the start of the race to the Toyota that came up from third on the grid, demoting that black and green Aston Martin. Well, you can't fault him for trying. Certainly Hoshino getting closer and closer, but Haridamo Manopo getting a little bit loose, the tail there. Just starting to go round, but he caught it going into turn one. And it's going to be the turn of the teammates. So there is his teammate, Seita Nonaka, who was very quick in the second qualifying session. Oh, getting a bit loose. The pressure is really starting to tell. And while this is happening, our race leader, Masaki Kano, is so far clear. 18.5 seconds to the good. No pressure on him, but Manopo and Hoshino, they are at each other the whole time. And I really wonder how much the Aston Martin Vantage GT4 could pull away if it could get clear, but it cannot get past. Down towards turn 7. Okay. How late can they brake into the corner? It's such a narrow corner. Nose almost alongside. Manopo does not just cede an inch there and just keeps it going. Would have been quite easy for a move there from Hoshino to go a little bit wrong, be a little bit clumsy, assume a lot more of the other driver alongside you. But no, that was a sensible thing to do from Hoshino there. Just back out. He could have pushed the nose, the Aston Martin, up a little bit. And there was his turn to slightly mess up at turn number 9, the front of the car. Just turn number 10, I beg your pardon, just washing away a little bit. Turn 11, they've completed that. Turn 12, they take right now. Down the slope they go, and one corner in 12, very like the one that's craftily called last corner, turn number 13. Both downhill from entry to exit, a little bit slippery as well. Race leader, nearly 21 seconds to good. All the field bar 2 cars will have lapped the bright pink Mercedes, but at the moment certainly Risa Oguchi trying her best to keep out of the way. And once this gaggle has come past, she'll have clear air, because as she goes down to turn 2, coming down the start-finish straight is the McLaren of Yuko Suzuki. And in another 4 minutes or so, we will have the pit window open. Oh, now finally, at the umpteenth time of asking, not quite alongside, but giving it a run. Alongside enough, surely, to take second position. Can Hoshino get the Aston Martin into and out of the corner? Okay, that was sensible in the end. The pressure was really starting to build. And I don't know if Haridamo Manopo made a slight mistake at going onto the back straight, but by the end he had to cede position. So my big desire earlier was to see how much the Aston Martin could stretch away, if indeed it does, after it got in front. The answer is it's already starting to pull away, but the other problem, I suppose, in this, we may not get very much time to see how much of an advantage can be opened out, because the pit stop window is opening in just over 3 minutes. Just, in fact, just over 3 minutes, 20 seconds. So, the order has changed. Race leader still the number 50 BMW from BMW M Team Studi. Second place now, D-Station Racing with their Aston Martin. Hoshino at the wheel. Third place to Haridamo Manopo in the better of the 2 Toyotas. The second of the Toyotas is running in 5th position. In between we have Sho Kobayashi, the Czech shop Kemania Racing Porsche. There it is, turning into turn 1. Track starts to drop immediately from turn into apex, and even more by the exit. Then you're down the slope into turn 2. The next corner's fast, fearsome. Just coming up now, they're the sweepers, turns 3 and 4, and the drivers just have to really have faith in the balance of their cars. So, K-Mania Racing had a really, really good run at Motegi, just not quite finding the sweet spot to the same extent here for the first of the two GT4 races. Yeah, this is a standalone race for GT4s. If you're just joining us, it's a toe in the water, but the response from the teams up and down the paddock here at Okayama is, yeah, I think we'll have some GT4 cars as well to come and play. And I think it's the sort of thing you take a while to try and get a championship off the ground and convince enough people to do it, but then suddenly when they see how good it is, it can really pick up and grow. Masaki Kano just so far clear in this race. He's down turn through turn 1, and I'm still waiting for the car to come round in second place. It's almost time for the pit stops, but I think another lap. And now it's coming through with a bit of a gap behind it. So for Hoshino, D-Station Racing, Aston Martin, he's gone past the lead, the better place, the two Toyotas in third place, and he's pulled out a gap of over 2 seconds now. So that's been a useful lap for him, and very close to his fastest lap of the race. So just goes to show, once you've got clean air, what you can do. But for YZ Racing, Easy Racing, I suppose, with BMW M Team Studi, it's just been a cakewalk. They were really challenged. They struggled a little bit at Motegi, but here they're back to their regal best, totally in control of GT4. Obviously running those BMW Motorsport flashes. It's just so undramatic. That BMW M4 just seems to sit so nicely on the track at turn 10, at turn 11. It's light on its tyres. You see some of the other cars skeetering around a little bit, but certainly not Masaki Kano. Whatever performance is in that car, he's very close to getting the best out of it. Neat, tidy, about to start another lap. And at the end of this lap, the pit window will be open. For some of the drivers out there, they'll be going, oh, you know what I could do with coming in. It's very hot, it's very, very humid. Less humid than it was this morning, and in turn that was less than yesterday. But some of the crews down there just waiting to see when their driver's coming in. But as I say, the pit window is now open. D-Station Racing, Aston Martin continues on its way, but the first car into the pits is car number 39, Haridamo Manopo, having just been demoted from second place, dropped back to third. He's coming down the pit lane, lights are flashing. Of course, that will drop him to the very tail of the field. He may well still just be ahead of the Comet Racing Mercedes, but he's decided enough is enough, and he will hand over to very talented teammate Seita Nonaka, who races this car alongside the Indonesian. Of course, the standard bolts on this wheel, it's slightly harder to locate, but all under control. Right, we've got two more cars in the pits, the Kreft Motorsport McLaren, the white one, car number 27, and the Comet Racing bright pink Mercedes is in. That's a car that is now best part of 2 laps down. Masutaka Inoue runs out to take over, to put the scissor door up on the side of the McLaren. Now, did they think about how easy it would be to get in and out in the heat of battle? But Yuka Suzuki does that very nicely indeed. And the Easy Race leader clear by 26 seconds before the pit stops. And Masaki Kano comes in from the lead of the race. So still 3 more cars to pit. The number 48 McLaren, the 718 Porsche, and this car, the 71 Akiland Racing Toyota, which is going in. But Porsche Sho Kobayashi continues for another lap. Still got time to do that. Time of plenty before the pit window closes. Just waiting to see where the race-leading BMW gets back in the mix. It's already out of the pit lane. Everyone else making their pit stops. Car number 39, remember, is serving an extra 15 seconds at a standstill because that was for winning at the opening round of the year. The last time it attended a round of Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia. First time here, though, that they've got their own standalone race. So the second driver into number 39 is local driver Seita Nonaka. He gets the grunty Toyota Supra propelled along the pit lane and out onto the circuit. Masataka Inoue about to come out in the number 27 Kref Motorsport McLaren. That's the brand new Artura, and the driver who was leading the race, Masaki Kano, in for his driver change to Manabu Orido. And that too will have an extra 15 seconds at a standstill. So will it just add to the shaping of the order of this first GT4 race in Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia? Great to be able to see shadows darkening the flanks of the car. So it's been a beautiful day here, best for quite some while. The typhoon at the start of the week really didn't make it a pleasant place to be, but it has very much blown through. So the car that was leading before the pit stops by 26 seconds back out onto the circuit. The only difference is we've swapped drivers. Masaki Kano out, Manabu Orido in. Already got 5 class wins in this series so far. 5 out of the 6 races they've contested, but of course all those races, all those class wins were in races where they had the entire field, all the GT3 runners as well. And I think having the extra space to play with, not having to look so much in their mirrors when they're trying to, conduct their own pace would be, well, an absolutely blessed relief for a lot of them. So K-Bania Racing sitting in the pit lane, and the race is run for Sho Kobayashi, put on a good fist of it, but Nehuka Atsuka climbs aboard that one. Easier for him to do than it was for me to say. Pit stop effected. Manabu Orido will be back into the lead of the race shortly. Just a couple of cars listed ahead of him, but they were later to come into the pit lane. That's the Aston Martin of D-Station Racing and the 718 Porsche Cayman as well. They'll definitely be behind when all the pit stops unravel. But talking of pit stops, one of the drivers that was a star in the early stages of the race was car number 39, Haridamo Manopo of Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia. And Amy Izawa has caught up to find out how his race went early on.
So Haridama, you were under pressure almost your whole stint. How was it on track?
Okay, yeah, for me it's normal, yeah. In racing, I follow somebody and somebody follow me. I just try to not make a mistake. So constant. Even the last 2 laps I'm coming, they overtake because I don't know. We try to set up the car a little bit different from qualifying, and my feeling is not working very well. So a little bit struggling for driving.
We'll see how Nonaka will do in his stint, but this race today is the very first GT4 standalone race. How does that feel?
Yeah, of course for me, very happy because hopefully in the next year will more come GT4 class. But in this race very amazing because different like in Chang because I drive alone, and this is we have 7 cars. Yeah, so amazing for me.
All right, so let's cross our fingers for Nonaka, and we'll probably see you on the podium.
Hopefully. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Back to you.
Thanks, Amy. So all the driver changes are done, and number 39 at the moment in the hands of Seita Nonaka down in 4th place, but he's just put in that car's fastest lap, so he's got to find just under 6 seconds to catch the other Toyota, the Akiland Racing version, but very much within his reach to do that. And a couple of the drivers who've taken over the cars at the back of the field setting quick times. In 6th place overall, Masataka Inoue took over the McLaren Artura from Yuko Suzuki and has just done a 1 minute 39.0. That's good. And the driver taking over the 83 Comet Racing, the bright pink Mercedes, got that down to 1 minute 39.6. So that is much more impressive from the cars in the front. fact, the only one of them that hasn't set a really impressive time recently, just doing an outlap, is the 718 Porsche Cayman. And Naohiko Otsuka could well improve their lap position. New fastest lap of the race by a tiny fraction, 34 thousandths of a second. It is car 39 and it is Seita Nonaka, but the thing is, the car he's faster than is 3 positions ahead. It's the number 50 BMW. There it is, looking great in the afternoon sunshine, carrying those fiercely traditional sporting flashes of blue, 2 blues and a red of BMW Motorsport. D-Station Racing just taking a look to see what Kenji Hama can do on his stint. He's an AM class entry, bear in mind, but yeah, his last lap 1 minute 48. The fastest driver out there was a 1 minute 38 flat, so he needs to find a bit of pace. But if you're new to the car, you're new to the series, build up to pace. Don't just get going and chuck it off. This is the car that's, well, it was fleetingly the fastest car on the circuit, but Manabu Orido's just taken over the number 50 BMW from BMW M-Team Studi. 1 minute 37.845 seconds. That is good, but Nonaka is fighting back on this lap. Let's see the Toyota with the red nose. What's its pace going to be when it crosses the finish line? It's certainly closer to the car in front. 1 minute 37.9, so very close to his previous best, but trying to see what he can do. But actually Sakaguchi, as I say that, in the other Toyota, the white, yellow and black one, has just put his fastest lap, so he's actually opened out the margin of third to fourth to 4.3 seconds. Car in fourth, this one, the 39 car. So 39 on its own, trying to pick up the pace. Seita Nonaka, very, very close, 2 laps in a row, covered by 18 thousandths of a second, so consistent. But this is the battle that's shaping up now. Kenji Hama is being caught, as you can see, by Sakaguchi, and I think Akilan Racing will be going through very soon indeed. Soon is now. Riehe goes through, and certainly you have to say Kenji Hama did not make things difficult, just could see the writing on the wall. Pull to one side and let the Toyota go through. Now he's going to sit on its tail, see how long he can use its slipstream, and try its very best to get a toe pass. But I think that was all good, tidy manoeuvring, and I think wise action from Kenji Hama there. Pull aside a little bit, sacrifice second place, but you could learn from this somehow. So Sakaguchi into second place, Hama and Yasser Martin down to third. Second of the Toyotas, Seita Nonaka. Another good lap from him. Then there's a little bit of a gap back to the 718 Cayman. Bear in mind, of course, the 718 Porsche Cayman had an extra 15 seconds at its pit stop. The number 50 race-leading BMW had an extra 15 at its pit stop, but even so, it's 26 seconds clear, so that's quite something to swallow all of that time difference. Drivers, with 7 cars on the track, there is space aplenty, but certainly with the broader, longer, wider, heavier GT3 runners, this track is very, very difficult to get enough people close together to have a decent race. But second, third and fourth, Sakaguchi, Hama and Nonaka closing all the time. Nonaka in the background with the red flash on the nose of his Toyota, now all over the tails. Don't know why the windscreen wipers are on, maybe a bug has got on there, just a distraction for Kenji Hama and Yasser Martin, or maybe he's just accidentally hit the toggle, hit the switch. Certainly Seita Nonaka all over the tail of the Aston Martin. "22 minutes this race going. The pit window has been opened and it has been closed." That was 2.5 minutes ago. All the crews have made their driver changes. I'm pleased to report that the car that had been at the tail of the field is still there, but the reason I'm mentioning this is the 83 Comet Racing Mercedes is now lapping as fast, give or take half a second, as the race leader. That bodes well for tomorrow's race when he'll be starting off in that car. Looking at the pace of the McLaren as this battle gets better and better. I'll let you through, but then I'll fight my way back, and certainly Kenji Hama has decided that D-Station Racing Aston Martin maybe is good for second place. Maybe park my thought. He's going to use the slipstream through the little kink, but you have to have your nose right up in the inside into turn 7 if you want to get through. Doesn't work into 7. Now into 8, the corner they used to call Revolver, where it suddenly drops down behind the paddock. So fleetingly, there was just that little moment where the number 48 D-Station Racing Aston Martin looked as though it was about to fight its way back, but it's had to tuck into line all over again. I must say, when GT4 cars race for the first time, they look sort of okay, but every year the presentations gets better, the numbers are growing just like crazy. But when you get a race livery carried between. Now, pressing on very hard, this little battle. This is a replay of this is on board with car 39, and that's that's turn number 9. A twitch and a twitch and a twitch to adjust the twitch. Oh, so really showing the pressure that Seita Nonaka is under in this car, the entry, the Supra from Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia, and that was as loose as it was because it ran a little bit wide under huge pressure, a fight back pressure from Kenji Hama in the D-Station Racing Aston Martin, but the new person on board, Nonaka, kept that just under control, but it wasn't at the first time of asking. Fastest lap, our race leader, that's just been set last time around, 1 minute 37.811 seconds. The next fastest lap is from Seita Nonaka, the driver in the twitchy Toyota there. His best of 1 minute 37.966. No one else under 1 minute 38.2, which is the best lap of the number 71 Akalan Racing Toyota. That's holding down second place at the moment, but nearly 27 seconds down on this BMW that's got things very much under control. Comfortable before the pit stops, just as comfortable after the pit stops. And of course, I said this class split between Silver Am GT4 pairings and Am GT4 pairings, and the Ams are the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. That's now in 4th place after Nonaka managed to get through, and Otsuka. Their hero Otsuka in the Cayman. It doesn't seem to suit the circuit as well as elsewhere. We've got a pit visitor. One of our 6 has come in. It's one of the Toyotas. It's Sakaguchi, the car number 71 from Akaland Racing, looking to see if he's serving a penalty. He's driving in, flashing his lights, driving through the pits. Drive-through penalty. I didn't pick up that penalty, but he did, and is back on his way. So that would have dropped him back down the order, had got up into 2nd place, and that has suddenly been handed to the other Toyota driver. So Masaki Kano trying to keep his cool. Yep. Thumbs up. Under 20 minutes to go. 18 minutes and 40 seconds to be precise. This is our new leader. Second place car. Car number 39. It's still the BMW in the lead by over half a minute. 2nd place, Seita Nonaka. In the background, the lead car in Am, GT4 Am, which is the Aston Martin from D-Station Racing, Kenji Hama at the wheel. Great rear shot. You can just see how active these cars are, how they move around, and drivers really have to stay on top of them. But for a lot of these drivers, you know, when they've been racing with the GT3s, they've got so many other things to concentrate on, and this is possibly the first time all year that they've been able to concentrate on what they're doing, how they're getting the most out of their tyres. Because when they run with the GT3s, they've got so many moments when they pull to one side to let the quicker cars come through, they get their own tyres completely covered in all the dirt, pick up all the rubber pickup around the edge of the circuit, which they really don't want. It makes tyre life absolutely horrible, tyre behaviour not very nice indeed. But right now they can really pick where they put their cars on the track. And I'm really already sensing that some good laps coming in here from Nehiko Atsuka, but not quite on the ultimate pace this weekend. McLaren's in the background there. Masataka Inoue, I think he's about he's only about 3 seconds back from Atsuka in the 718 Cayman. The 83 Mercedes still way back, lost a lap in that first stint. He hasn't got it back yet, but you know, there are some races where, particularly the short ones, if you don't get the result you're looking for early on, well, you haven't got much of a chance to claw it back. In a 1 hour race, you really can. And right now, though, he's a lap down. The pace being set by Kazuki Oki in the number 83 Mercedes. We're riding on board now, entered by Comet Racing. Here we go, out of turn 6. Track continues to climb for a little bit. Over the crest, just where the car is up in front, you'll see there's a kink to the left. Wait for it, wait for it. The foot is still planted through the kink. No problem, no problem. Then you have to brake hard. Brake, chase down through the gears, clunk, clunk, down to second gear. And then a slight banking throws you back from the left to the right, which is where you want to be. And then you just got to position your car. I can't really see the nose of the car as you go into the compression at turn 8 there, but job well done. Now 48 into the pits. Kenji Hama from 3rd place. This isn't really according to the script. Is this for a penalty as well that I haven't seen? 48. Oh, stop and go penalty for 1 second because their minimum pit stop time they didn't quite reach. They were a second short, so they'll hand that second back, but the delay coming in and out of the pit lane, let's say, adds about another 20 something seconds to that. So 2 cars in trouble. Akiland Racing came in to serve a drive-through penalty. That's back up to 3rd place, but it does mean that Seita Nonaka is fairly safe in 2nd place, but drive the whole way down the pit lane for D-Station Racing. Their garage is by pit in, stop at pit just before pit exit for 1 second, and then get going again. But in all, about half a minute lost there. Just coming up to the point of the race, the 3/4 stage in this 1 hour race, and for now, for D-Station Racing, a good result has gone out of the window. And they, don't forget, were leading the AM class. Now they're not. It's in the hands of Czech Shop K-Mania Racing. So it's been a bit of a seesaw race with them coming in and having to stop for a second and get going again. Akiland Racing, Toyota that got up into a very useful position, got up to 2nd position. That also had to come in, serve a drive-through, but that's back to 3rd. Looking for late moves, late changes. Actually, it's remarkably close. Masataka Inoue in the McLaren, the Artura, first one racing in Asia, is very close indeed to K-Mania Czech Shop Racing. Only a second and a half between them in their battle for 4th place, and the writing is on the wall. The McLaren is coming. The writing is also on the wall that looks like it's going to be class win, GT4 win, I should say. Number 6 out of what will be 7 races for this BMW. Super fast, super consistent. Had a bit of a challenge from Czech Shop K-Mania Racing at Motegi 3 weeks ago, but here at Okayama got things wholly under control. I mean, not only has Manabu Arida got the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 37.59. His last lap was also 1 minute 37, 1 minute 37.9. No one else below 1 minute 38.2, and that's the car in 2nd place. That's Seita Nonaka in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia Supra. But this car, well, it's got things taped at the moment. But of course, in 2024, when GT4 races will be standalone, as this trial example. Now, a car that came in and went out again, had a drive-through penalty, car number 71. And we're going to catch up with Masayoshi Oyama, who's down with Amy Izawa, Toyota 71.
小山選手、ご自身のスティントもね、718と結構バトってましたけど、どんなスティントでしたか？
まあまあ直線がこっちは遅くて、セクター3は追いつくねんけど、苦しいレースです。
So in his stint, the straight is a little bit not as quick as he wanted to. So they were able to catch up in sector 3, but then also dropped again at the straight. So yeah, it was not the race he wanted to do.
まあでもこの GT4 独占レースとなりましたけど、ライバルも増えてより一層楽しいんじゃないですか。
はい、結構楽しいですね。別々にやった方がいいと思います。はい。
So he's very much enjoying this GT4 standalone race. He thinks it's better to have them separated because he's having more fun.
あと先ほど坂口選手がまた P3 に戻りましたね。まあペナルティの兼ね合いでこの先どんな戦い期待しますか。
まあもうこのまま行くんちゃいますか、3番で、はい、そこでスピード出したみたいから。
ではまたポディウムでお会いしましょう。はい、お疲れ様でした。
So yeah, he's crossing fingers for Sakaguchi, and he saw him racing, and looks like he's having fun. So that's great, I guess. Back to you.
Thank you, Amy. And yeah, I think a very good point. Well made there by Masayoshi Okayama. They appreciate the track space. They appreciate the fact they can concentrate on their own craft. And as more cars come to play in GT4, the battle will intensify. And while all that was going, during the course of that interview, I said that Masataka Inoue in the number 27 McLaren was making progress, just moved ahead of the K-Mania Racing Porsche Cayman up into 4th place and setting some good lap times, and is now, well, the next target is, can it catch the Akiland Racing Toyota? Well, here we go. This is another car. The K-Mania Racing Porsche has just lost the position to the McLaren. That's going off into the distance and unlapping himself. This isn't a change of position. This was a lap down when the Comet Racing Mercedes was taken over by Kazuki Oki, but he'd been going very well indeed, matching the pace of the front runners pretty much since he got in the car. So he's picked a lap back off the car in front. Not an entire lap in his stint, but he's moved forward by about half a lap, I suppose, overall, and that means he's unlapping himself from the cars that had already got a lap ahead of him. So good to see the pace is in that car, and it's up to Comet Racing to bring their number 2 driver on or get a better balanced driver pairing. But looking at the way the bright pink Mercedes AMG is being hurled around, it's nothing wrong with its handling. Yeah, and the way the power was applied coming up the slope between the turning point from turn 6, going past the apex, you could hear the noise getting a little gruffer as the pedal was planted. But again, quite difficult as you go up the slope at turn 6 because you go over a little bit of a crest, then the straight goes over a crest. But whereas Czech shop K-Mania Racing just had such a good couple of races at Motegi, here they're having to work a whole lot harder with their Cayman. But again, across the course of many a championship, you have circuits that suit some cars, and others at other venues have their moment in the sunshine. Fastest lap of the race in the hands of the race leading number 50 BMW. There it is, the M4 GT4, clear by over half a minute, 32.4 seconds clear. Their fastest lap of the race is the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 37.590 seconds. Satan and Naka, second fastest, 1 minute 37.9. Next fastest lap, 1 minute 38.2 from the other Toyota from Akiland Racing, the one that served a drive-through penalty, 1 minute 38.2 seconds. So top 3 with the 3 fastest tyres, but certainly the order has been jumbled. And I was just wondering if Masataka Inoue in the Crest Motorsport McLaren, having gone from 5th up to 4th, could head off after the Akiland Racing Toyota in 3rd, but with 8.5 minutes remaining, he's actually losing a little ground. He's now 7.5 seconds down. That's the gap between 3rd and 4th. What's the gap between the race leader and the driver in 2nd place? Well, Manabu Arido has started the 31st lap with this BMW Motorsport liveried M4 GT4, and still waiting for Seitan Nonaka to come across the finish line. In fact, I'm still waiting for him to come into sight and see what the interval was. Is it going to be best part of 40 seconds? Okay, Nonaka swings through the final corner of the lap. Comes down the start-finish straight, but already quite a long way round the lap is the race leader, car number 50. The gap, 32.52 seconds. In fact, their last laps were very, very similar, separated by just a few hundredths of a second. But even if this stabilises, it doesn't matter for the BMW crew because they've got things wholly under control. And Manabu Arido could afford to back off if he so chooses. And now the field actually the most strung out it's been throughout the course of the race. Masataka in a way, yeah, he's losing a little bit of ground to Yakaran Racing Toyota, so fourth place is likely to stay as fourth place for the new McLaren for Kref Motorsport. It looks as though third place is going to be kept in the hands of Akaran Racing. Their drive-through penalty really hurt them because they're fully 26 seconds down from second place, which is the 39 Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia Supra, and that in turn is 32.5 seconds down on the race-leading BMW that is metronomically completing this race. Riding on board the Toyota in second place, Seita Nonaka. This is going up the slope, great to see those blue skies. Turn 10 at the bottom, 11 at the top. Short run across the ridge, and then down into 12. Oh, not the grip he was looking for there, and you very easily into the gravel trap on the outside. You can see a little bit of opposite lock, not what you want to do, but it's what is required to get a car back under control. And turn 13 comes straight up on the drivers if they're going quickly once they've turned into 12. So very, very busy end to the lap. You can see riding through turn 1, down the slope to turn 2. Waiting, the power's starting to be fed in now, and then the kink that follows, turns 3 and 4. Yep, absolutely flat, and then flat through 5. This is turn 6. Track folds to the right and climbs from turn in to turn out. Waiting, the power starting to come on now in a straight line. Straight ahead under the Lexus gantry, but then of course a very slight kink to the left, but the main thought in the driver's mind at this point is braking for the turn 7 hairpin. It's very narrow indeed. As he turns to the right, you can see the track is actually banked on the exit. Eat your heart out, Zandvoort. Actually, the bank at Zandvoort at that final corner is much, much steeper, but just a little helping hand, I guess, when the track is so narrow at that point. Drivers need a little bit of assistance so they don't just skate over the edge onto the grass and into the tyre wall. No such problems. The driver in second place, so Seita Nonaka, he's not going to catch the race leader. He's going to be the best part of 40 seconds down by the checkered flag, but a useful helping of points for the number 39 Toyota crew. Akaran Racing, Sakaguchi still holding on to that third place, but comfortable because the charge from Masataka Inoue seemed to rather peter out a little bit once it moved ahead of the K-Mania Racing Porsche, the McLaren, the brand new Artura, its pace just falling away a little bit. So certainly Sakaguchi just coming through turn 12, coming into turn 13, final corner of the lap, with just 4 minutes remaining. He's not going to go up to second, barring disaster, and he's not going to go down to fourth, so he's quite safe in that third position. Still brewing the fact they had a drive-through penalty, of course, because otherwise it'd be very, very close with the other Toyota, the one driven by Seita Nonaka. Must say the Supra GT4s just look so dynamic. A lot of the others are less dramatic, but this car, you sort of, it gives you that feeling of speed, a bit like a Formula 1 car from the 1990s, back in the V10 era. They were smaller, they were lighter, they were twitchier. They just look more dynamic, and to my eye, that's what we need all racing cars to look like. They should look as though the driver is right on the edge. 3.5 minutes remain. Right, this is the car that went really, really well, but I think the best of the tyres has possibly been and gone for the brand new McLaren, the Artura, run by Kref Motorsport. And don't forget, they didn't get the car till the start of the week. There were mechanical problems. They got those sorted. I think it was a fueling issue. But now, this is all, every single lap is like a testing lap, trying to work out how to get the setup right on this Artura. And also, don't forget, a setup that may work on this car in a European circuit in spring is not the same as one that's going to work on a car with such high temperatures, such high track temperatures here as well as air temperatures. So a lot of tweaking is going to have to be done, but this is a car that I think has made a very positive impact on the series. Actually just looked a little bit slower, but then again the run from turn 10 to turn 11, you're not travelling at a huge rate of knots. Slightly worried I'd put a curse on it by saying it's been running beautifully, but not long to go now, just 2 and a bit minutes. And nobody is going to catch Manabu Arido. It's going to be another win. They've had an epic season. But maybe in a year or two's time, we'll see the Artura right up at the front, challenging the cars that are dominating now, the cars like the M4, GT4, BMW. Yeah, certainly the better the driver that you put in that car, it looks more and more under control, but in fact it looks very neat and tidy with the less experienced drivers as well. So that's the sort of car you want in a Pro-Am driver lineup, a car that doesn't spook the drivers. So fabulous conditions, good to have 2 new entries, or 2 of the 3 new entries here. The D-Station Racing Aston Martin was brand new for this meeting. The Comet Racing Mercedes been riding on board. First time we've had that in the series, and the car just in front, the Artura, the only McLaren Artura racing in Asia. So getting new stuff coming in, which is always very, very welcome indeed. Right, as it stands, the BMW leading the race will win the Japan Cup. If the results stay as they are, they were 16 points apart at the start of the race, and because of the positions the challengers are in, it will be 29 points afterwards. That's the K-Mania Racing Porsche has just lost a little bit of form, a little bit of ground, and BMW would take 25 points for the win. That would be enough. Every team needs a mathematician as well, someone with an abacus perhaps. Right, half a minute remains, so another lap at least will be put on the board for Comet Racing. All good experience, and certainly been some very good consistent laps being put in there by the second driver on board, Kazuki Oki. And car number 50 appears to have slowed. Is he toying with the opposition, or is there a problem? This is our race leader. This was a car that's about to win the Japan Cup Championship. Is he doing it to wind up his pit crew, pretending there's a problem? No, I don't think so. Otherwise, it's the ultimate joke. But Manabu Arido round the final corner. Does Gradient taking it on the start-finish straight? Is he about to run out? Are we going to see Seita Nonaka, who is 33 seconds in arrears, sweep by to take victory? This is painful to watch. The BMW is petering out of any momentum at all. It's not going to get many more grid markers up before it comes to a halt. Looking in the background, sweeping in to take victory for Toyota. That's extraordinary. I thought that was just a bit of drama being put into the mix. So all championship reckoning, that's the car that if it had had, what, another litre or a few more litres of fuel in the tank or whatever has stopped the car, that would have gone through to take the win and the championship. A little bit, this is a starter motor perhaps kicking in to get it a tiny bit of momentum, but it's only moved it forward a few car lengths. It's not even going to get second place. It's going to be a Toyota 1-2 victory for Seita Nonaka. The second Toyota from Akiland Racing comes through in number 71 to take second place, and that means the McLaren will take third place on its debut. There is Masataka Inoue taking third place, and the BMW going nowhere. It had it in the palm of its hand, in its bag, whatever you want to say, and it's stationary. The lights are on, but nothing is happening. Oh my word, what an extraordinary finish for a race that was perhaps the one they've had the most control over in the course of the year. And of course this is the first time we've seen them without the GT3 cars with them, so it was all out there in the open, but brilliantly driven all race. The number 39 Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia Supra, and you can be sure in the pit lane Haridama Manopo was probably very excited about second place, but he's going to take victory because Seita Nonaka swept through, and still that BMW has not got to the finish line. It is going no further. What an extraordinary finish. And at the end, let's just run you down the order. Seita Nonaka won the race at the end for the Indonesian team. The second Toyota from Akiland Racing, Arihe Sakaguchi, coming through into second, and third place on its debut, brand new, the McLaren Artura takes third place overall. And well, you've got to applaud Manabu Arido. He's got actually still about 100 meters to go, or so it seems, to get to the finish. He's pushing, but that car is hardly moving. Oh, how cruel is that? In fact, he's still ahead of the Mercedes, So he's still in 6th place, but the Mercedes has now finished its race, but was a lap down. But so he will stay in 6th place, the Mercedes will be 7th. But the race winning Toyota, lights are flashing, coming down pit lane to park under the arch. And of course we got Silver Am and Am. The top Am finisher was the 718 Porsche from Porsche, the K-Mania Racing. Second in class was the Aston Martin. And for those cars that picked up penalties, other cars could have taken victory, but by not having any penalties, by driving under the GT4 arch, it's victory here in the first race, where it's a standalone GT4 event going. There we have it, to Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia. It was a surprise. They'd be quite pleased with 2nd place, but you know what? When victory arrives, when it's the first ever race of a standalone GT4 event in this series in Japan, how cruel is that for them? Oh, dearie me. For BMW M Team Studi, such disappointment. And Manabu Arido is still pushing his car. It's just about stopped, but it is still moving to the finish. But we may have even had the podium ceremony done. And Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia will have plenty to celebrate there. Certainly the driver's looking very pleased with life. And there's the McLaren Artura, new to the team at the start of the race, the start of this week. Race for the first time, and in fact having no GT3 cars around them has been a real advantage for them to find their form, find the pace, and they have come through to 3rd place. So Kref Motorsport will be delighted with that. Well, let's go down, because Amy is down to speak with our winners. We've got Haridama Manopo and Seita Nanaka who brought it home. Look at the smile on Manopo's face in the background.
All right, here at the Park Ferme, looks like we have a winner, the 39 car. 野中選手、最終コーナー曲がった瞬間、何を感じましたでしょうか？
やっぱびっくりしてなんかギリギリまで待ってるのかななんて思ったんですけど、まさかああいう形で最後、まだ原因わからないですけど、でもあの差は本当に最後までプッシュしてよかったなっていうので、すごい嬉しいです。
素晴らしい優勝です。おめでとうございます。So he was a little bit shocked when he came around the last corner because he thought that the 50 car was waiting until the last moment, but no, it wasn't. So it caught him by surprise, and then they got the win. So yeah, he's embracing it at the moment, I guess, and very happy about the race. And also he said it was really his job to push as hard as he can, so he did his job. I need to get another interview with Haridama, which we will do. Haridama, yeah. Still need an interview with you.
Okay.
I asked you to see you again on the podium. We did. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How do you feel about this win?
I don't know. Of course, I feel happy because I believe in God. Alhamdulillah. Because I always pray before the race, and I invite Nonaka-san juga. We need to pray. Thank you.
I think you prayed good enough, and it worked. Yes, congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Back to you.
Thank you, Amy. And just as you finish that interview, the finish line is being crossed. It's being pushed over, and now the number 50 car has taken the finish. The victory was in its hand. Sorry, I've gone a little early. He's got another 2 car lengths to get to the finish line. And a round of applause. It would have been a hot afternoon anyhow in the car. It's very hot. It's very humid here. But that is the sort of workout a driver does not want. But Manabu Arido gets the BMW M4 to the finish of the race. So congratulations to him and commiserations at the same time. And he collapses in dramatic style, whether that's for show or go. No, he's just worn himself out, and drinks and medical attention brought to him. But of course, Haridama Manopo and Nonaka Seita could point out they have had 3 starts in GT4 and they've won the class in all 3 of them. But when they were in Thailand at the start of the season, they were the only car in class. Good to see Manabu Arido is sitting up now, but that will have given him a sort of workout that should give him a good sleep tonight, because it'd be hot enough if wearing a T-shirt and shorts, but in a full race suit when he got out of a hot racing car after half an hour, that would have hurt. What was the problem, though? There's the question. Did it simply run out of fuel, or was there a mechanical failure? But victory was absolutely snatched away from them. They were sitting on a half-minute's advantage, and we thought when we saw it slowing between turns 11 and 12, it's just for drama. But that is not the case. And you can see how much that's hurt for Manabu Arido, or Max as he sometimes is known, and he's recovering. But, well, what a turn of drama at the end. The championship, the Japan Cup GT4 class was going to be theirs. They'll have to wait to do it tomorrow. But for Seita Nonaka and Haridama Manopo, victory in the first GT4 race ever in this championship. But the drama at the end, quite extraordinary there for the BMW crew. And with all that, of course, we had Toyota finishing first and second, and in third place on its first race here in Asia. The McLaren driven very, very well, particularly in the second stint, coming through to take third place overall. A surprise third place, along with the surprise second and the surprise first place with the BMW pulling out. But that is drama. And still in the background, Manabu Arido is just looking absolutely bushwhacked, as we say down in Australia. Having a drink, but still breathing. Looks like he's about to have a quick interview, perhaps, but you can see the pain on his face. That really was a horrid end. But let's go down, because Amy, I did think I spotted her. She is with Manabu Arido, and get it in quickly. I think he needs to go and sit down. Amy.
Arido 選手、見たことない光景です。最後のラインまで。
めちゃくちゃ悔しいね。いや、いけると思った矢先にぶってきて止まっちゃって、まあなんとかゴールまでいけるかなと思って全然持たなかったね。昔ね、漫画で見たことあるのよ。バリバリ伝説をしてね、ゴールしたの。ちょっとね、だからみんながゴールしたのを聞いてから、まあ、どうしてもチェッカーだけ受けないと、もう本当にハートだけでいきました。
So he pulled his heart out to push the car to the goal line. Where he got this idea from is from a manga, apparently, which he saw years back. But yeah, he felt sorry for the team, so he pushed his heart out to the goal line. ジャパンカップのねチャンピオンかかってたんですけれども、
これ優勝すれば多分トータルでもチャンピオン取れたんだけど、ちょっと悔しいね。まあさ。
また明日にね持ち越しとなりましたけどガス欠。
頑張ります。はい。ガス欠です。
ありがとうございます。また明日応援してますんで頑張ってください。お疲れ様でした。So yeah, it was fuel. They went out of fuel and they're looking forward to tomorrow because he was really hoping to become champion today, but it just didn't work out. Back to you.
Thank you, Amy. Good to see Manabu Arido walking away in the background. Got enough power to get back to his pit garage, but refueling, well, that's really, really unfortunate. But there it was, exposed for all to see. We thought it was a little bit of drama being supplied as the BMW backed off. We thought to try and just nip across to take victory, take the championship, the Japan Cup GT4 category. But we'll have to do it tomorrow. We've got another race, which will bring this meeting to a conclusion. So for the first time in Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, we've had a separate GT4 race. We had 7 starters. We had 6.5, no, eventually 7 finishers, because the car that was leading, when it came through the final corner, pulled to a halt and eventually had to be pushed most of the start-finish straight. Sitting down at the front of your screen, they could have been champions. They may well become champions in the Japan Cup GT4 category tomorrow, but not enough fuel. The car came to a standstill. Drama all around, and through that came Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia, Haridamo Manopo and Seita Nonaka. They took victory in the opening race of the championship and the second race of the championship, both of those in Thailand, but they were the only cars in class. And here they had competition, and they will be going up onto the podium, I'm sure, with enormous smiles on their faces. Certainly looked very happy indeed when Amy Izawa spoke to them ahead of the podium ceremony, when they were just celebrating down in Parc Fermé. So now I can hear the clarion call for the GT4 podium. And in third place should be, there by Masataka Inoue, and in front Yuko Suzuki. She said she loved the car, and they'll certainly love being on the podium. So Masataka follows Yuko out onto the podium. That's the McLaren, and then it's 2 Toyota crews that came through to first and second. In second place, Akiland Racing, Masayoshi Oyama and Ryohei Sakaguchi. They'll be pleased with the performance of the car. Unfortunate for them, they had that drive-through penalty. But victory for the team from Indonesia. That's Haridamo Manopo, and certainly quick on the track, quick onto the podium. Seita Nonaka up onto the top step. Toyota, McLaren at the end. BMW not quite to the end. That's why they're not up as the winners, but trophies to be presented. And that would be by Kotaro Ikuta, technical director of Dixel. So they might have got these for class results before, but now, of course, with their own race, it's something all the drivers are very, very happy about, because they really can concentrate on what they need to do without the GT3 cars coming through and monstering them at various points in the race. But Haridamo Manopo and Seita Nonaka looking very, very pleased indeed with their winner trophies up on the top step of the podium. They get one more as well. They get the Okayama International Circuit trophy as well to go with them. Got any spare hands up on the top step? Come on. There we are, Haridama. Sunshine rather than rain, their own race rather than racing at the back. That is why all 6 drivers up on the podium, 2 Toyota crews and the McLaren crew from Kreft Motorsport with their brand new Artura will be very pleased with life, and they get to do it all over again tomorrow. And I tell you what, the grid for the second race is a whole lot more competitive than this one, because you get the pros rather than the AMs doing the qualifying, and they were very, very close on times. Great to see all the smiles all round, and certainly despite ending up in second when they may have been able to win, Masayoshi Oyama on the left of the podium certainly having a fun digging Seita Nonaka in the ribs with his trophy. And now it's champagne time, and good to see that the McLaren crew, they came third, but they waited to get their bubbly spraying. But Yuko Suzuki, no, she's no fool, ran around the back, didn't get sprayed, but well, I thoroughly enjoyed that GT4 race, but I didn't expect the level of drama we had at the end. So it was an experiment, and a very good experiment, and you can be sure that BMW M-Team Studio will be checking their fuel level with an eagle eye tomorrow. Well, BMW, it looked as though it was in the bag for them, but right at the end, the Porsche just did enough to keep the championship battle open tomorrow. But here's the results at the end, the 7-car race, and at the end, the car that could and should have won ended up 6th, having run out of fuel. That's the number 50 BMW, but 2 Toyotas in the top 2 positions. Seita Nonaka brought it home. Haridamo Manopo kicked it off for Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia. Akiland Racing, they had a drive-through penalty, and it really, really hurt them. So Oyama and Sakaguchi had to settle for second place, and Kreft Motorsport be delighted with third place. Brand new car to them. The Artura, the only one racing in Asia. Yuka Suzuki and Masataka Inoue taking third position. And the car that won the AM class, GT4 AM, Nehiko Otsuka and Sho Kobayashi, Czech Shop Kamania Racing in 4th place overall. But talk about a race with a sting in its tail at this most beautiful circuit. Okayama International. The car's off the track for now, but there'll be plenty to chew when considering that race all over again. But for BMW, you just have to say it was yours, and but for a tiny bit of fuel, it went nowhere. They could have won the Japan Cup GT4 class, but they're going to have to wait until the final race of that series tomorrow, when the 8 races that complete the Japan Cup element come to a conclusion. But it was an exciting first race in GT4, and if you were a fan of Toyota Supras, you were treated not once but twice, because they took the top 2 positions. But bragging rights today go to Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia, to Haridamo Manopo and his Japanese teammate Seita Nonaka. They take the first winners' trophies. Who will win them tomorrow? Let's see. And so the second of the GT4 podiums, it's Czech Shop Kamania Racing on the top step. Nehiko Otsuka in the grey race suit, and the taller figure of Sho Kobayashi. They took victory with their Porsche Cayman, and second in class was the other entry, D-Station Racing Aston Martin. Showed some good pace early on. Tatsuya Hoshino really fighting, and Kenji Hama as well. So we'll see more of them, I am sure. The car looked magnificent, looking like it's a big sister car that runs in GT3, but this is the GT4 AM element with the ever entertaining Hika Otsuka. He just loves being in front of the camera, behind the wheel of a car. Here he is with the winner's trophy, GT4 AM. So that keeps Japan Cup GT4 battle open. Otsuka's crew came here second in the championship, and with that twist in the tail, with the BMW coming to a halt, and in fact, poor Manabu Arido, he's under investigation for the race finish, for pushing the car to the finish. But right now, let's enjoy the champagne being sprayed by the GT4 AM first two. And again, the great showman of Otsuka getting the bubbly flowing up on the top step. So Fanatec Asia, the first ever GT4 race. They've always raced before at the back of the pack behind the GT3 cars, but they had their space, and it really has been up in the sunlight here this afternoon at Okayama International Circuit. So, what happened since the start of the race? Let's take a look back at the highlights of the first ever GT4 race. Nice and tidy at the start. Number 50 BMW getting off from pole position. The D-Station Racing Aston Martin alongside. And the Toyotas sitting in third and fourth positions. The McLaren tucked in fifth. Then the Porsche Cayman in sixth, and making it 6 makes of cars in the top 7 positions. In fact, all 7 cars in the race is the bright pink Mercedes in the background. But with every lap, we had the great escape being mounted by Masaki Kano, pulling ever further clear. The Porsche Cayman with Sho Kobayashi was making up places, and then it came to be the time of the pit stops. This is the pit stop for the car that would go on to win. They thought they were heading for second place, but the number 39 car was handed over from Haridama Manopo to Seita Nonaka, making good progress. Picked off the second of the Aston Martin drivers. That was in the D-Station car, Kenji Hama being passed, but it was all in the bag. Surely 30 seconds and more to the good. The number 50 BMW stroking it home. Great start to the race by Masaki Kano. Manabu Arido did not have the best end to the race, because here he is with 2 corners to go. Only 1 corner to go. Now he's freewheeling down the hill. Painful to watch for the crew in the pit lane. Masaki Kano can do nothing. Could it get enough momentum to get to the finish line? No, it couldn't. It was only at the back end of the grid. It came to standstill, sweeping through from the outside came Seita Nonaka to take victory for Toyota, and any second now Akilan Racing's Toyota will come through, but the BMW at a standstill, driver getting out. Masaki Kano can hardly bear to watch, but Manabu Arido, well, he doesn't need to go to the gym for a while. He pushed it to the finish, but victory, the first GT4 victory in an all GT4 race, went to Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia. Congratulations to Haridama Manopo and Seita Nonaka. They made a little bit of history.